Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, family and friends. Thank you for joining My Thoughts Uncut. I am your host, Terrence Manning. Today, we're going to talk about why JD Vance is worthy of being the president in 2028. His Q&A at the TPUSA event was extraordinary. Let's take a look.
I understand your view on illegal immigration is it should be a top priority, strengthening our southern borders and fighting the massive drug trafficking that's taken place while securing jobs for the working class Americans. Also, deporting every single person who's invaded our country illegally, which I 100% agree on. My question to you is, what is your view on legal immigration? Personally, I have a girlfriend who's studying in America off a visa. Our hope is eventually getting a green card. So what is your view on legal immigration? Should we reduce it? Also, what is your plan for a merit-based system?
Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate the question. And look, my honest view
That was a
is
good
that
question.
right now, America, thanks in part to the Biden border invasion, but also thanks in part to a lot of bad immigration policy, right now, we have let in too many immigrants into the United States of America. That is just a fundamental reality. Now, look, legal immigration is complicated because we let in about 1 million legal immigrants into the United States of America every single year. And I think the evidence is pretty clear that a lot of those immigrants are actually undercutting the wages of American workers. It's one of the reasons why the President of the United States and a lot of us in the administration have encouraged H-1B reform, because if you look at the H-1B visa, what it's supposed to be is that you have a super genius who's studying at an American university, who's working at a great company. You want that super genius to stay in the United States of America and not go somewhere else. What it's actually...
And that's true. It's like Elon Musk, super genius. With this H-1B visa, the issue is you take someone, you give them a regular job, and you give them an H-1B visa status. These companies are doing, and they're not paying them like they're extraordinary at their jobs. They're getting paid like normal citizens will get paid in the United States. So they're doing the work for pretty much the price that they would just pay the average person. If they're extraordinary at their job, clearly they should be paid way more than what they're paying them the average. But there's a loophole to this, and that's why this needs to be overturned. And just they need to figure out how to actually get people who are extraordinary at their jobs in their fields and have them come over and work in the United States of America. We want the best of the best, the brightest of the brightest. We can't just get any Joe Schmo that comes here with H-1B and they're taking the job away that a U.S. citizen can have. That's an average job. Now, if you're going to take away jobs from U.S. citizens, you better be extraordinary. That's my take on that one. Let's see what JD Vance says.
Actually used to do is hire an accountant at a 50% discount to an American citizen. I don't think that we should be hiring accountants from foreign countries when we've got accountants right here in the United States that would love to work for a good wage.
Pretty much what I said.
Now, you asked about, I think, your girlfriend, you said, and I obviously don't know the full details about your situation, but my view is, look, there are people who want to come to the United States of America, and some of them, I'm sure, can enrich the United States of America by coming here, but we have got to get our overall numbers way, way down. Too many people have come into the United States of America. I am married to the daughter of immigrants who came to the United States in the 1980s. I do believe that some immigrants, many immigrants do in fact enrich the United States of America, but here's the problem. We don't even know how many illegal aliens we have. We don't even know. The best guess is probably 25, 30 million people.
And that's crazy. 25 to 30 million people that are here illegally. They're taking jobs away from U.S. citizens. The resources that we can have to U.S. citizens that need SNAP, they're going to illegal immigrants. Yes, there's a big percentage of it going to illegal immigrants. Just think about the housing situation in New York, where you have hotels that were basically rented out, not even rented out, they're there for free. Families of illegal immigrants, basically tons of them staying there, getting 3 meals a day. 3 meals a day. I don't think people understand how much resources is taken out of the US citizens and given to these illegal immigrants that should not be in this country. Get them all the hell out of here.
Heard estimates as high as 50 million. When something like that happens, you've got to allow your own society to cohere a little bit, to build a sense of common identity, for all the newcomers to assimilate, the ones who are going to stay, to assimilate into American culture. Until you do that, you've got to be careful about any additional immigration, in my view. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good job, JD. We're going to look at another segment of the questions and answers.
Vice President J.D. Vance, good evening.
Thank
My
you.
question is, the Republican Party, they stand for the right to bear arms. A lot of things the founding fathers really made a priority.
Sure.
And I feel as if requiring Christianity in public schools goes against the founding fathers' wish of freedom of religion. What do you think about that?
Well, I guess who is saying that we require Christianity in public schools?
Just from what I've seen on the media and the news, it seems like the Trump administration had wanted to make praying in schools and Christian values incorporated.
Now, I'll tell you this: it should be freedom of religion too. So you can't force anyone to pray in schools and stuff like that, and you can't try to have Christianity in every single school forced upon. It should just be optional, not forced upon. So let's see what JD has to say.
Well, look, I think Christian values are a good thing, and I'll talk to you about why I think that's a good thing. But that's separate from forcing people to pray, which I don't think that anybody, certainly no Christian that I know, would ever support or ever endorse. And let me just say something generally about all the people. I see there's a big line, and I hope I can get to everybody's question. I remember when I was a sophomore in high school, I went to an event at my church, which was a book signing with Oliver North and Sean Hannity, the Fox News host. And this was back before, this was, I guess, 25 years ago. And so neither of these guys was maybe as big as they are today. And I remember standing in line, and I'm about to say hello to Oliver North and Sean Hannity. And I remember thinking to myself, I was so nervous. All I need to do is shake their hand, give them a firm handshake, and tell them my name. That's what I'm thinking. Firm handshake, tell them my name. Firm handshake, tell them my name. And I get to the front of the line, and Sean Hannity looks at me, and he says, "How are you doing?" And I totally panic, and I go, JD. Because I had rehearsed shaking and saying my name. My point is, I admire your guys' courage, and please don't be nervous if you need to work through a question.
He must have sensed that guy was nervous, or other students there were nervous. That's pretty good by JD. See, compassion, and that shows awareness. That's good.
Think about it, speak it. We're all here to have a nice conversation, and we're all supportive of it. Here's the thing when you talk about forcing, I'm going to answer your question, forcing Christianity, forcing people to pray. There's a liberal idea out there that I think is wrong, and that's that liberalism is the source of freedom of religion. And actually, if you go back to the original founding documents of the United States of America, if you go back to the Anglo legal tradition, well before there was ever a United States of America, what you find is that freedom of religion is actually a Christian concept. And the reason...
I didn't know that.
And the reason it's a Christian concept is very simple. Because Christianity, Imago Dei, the idea that we are all made in the image of our Creator, means that we must respect the free will of every single person. Now, part of that is you have a conversation with people. Having free will doesn't mean that you're not allowed to encourage somebody, that you're not allowed to talk to somebody about your faith, that you're not allowed to talk about certain values in school. When our founders talked about freedom of religion, they didn't mean you weren't allowed to say a Christian prayer in a public school, or that you weren't allowed to talk about Jesus Christ in a public forum. They just meant that nobody could force you to profess the Christian faith. That had to come from your own free will. And I believe that, and I think every Christian who I've ever spoken to believes that the source is the Christian, the source of your faith, the Christian understanding must be your own free will. But here's the thing about Christian values. There are a lot of Christian values out there that I think that we've just sort of assumed and we've in fact taken for granted. Christian values are the idea that you should respect every single person as an individual, whatever the color of their skin, created in the image of God. That's a Christian concept. And in fact, it was a Christian empire, Great Britain, that abolished slavery to begin with. The idea that we should eliminate child sacrifice. What did the Christian settlers find when they came to the New World? They found a lot of civilizations that were murdering babies in weird religious rituals. It was Christianity that said we don't kill children just because they're somehow inconvenient to people. A lot of the things, human rights, the very idea that human beings have.
This guy just drops knowledge. He goes back in history. He can recall things like that. This is unscripted for him. This man he's phenomenal. And this is one of Trump's best. This is probably Marco Rubio too is awesome. This is one of Trump's best picks, like best decisions that he's made to make this man his running mate for vice president, and now he's vice president. That was a great answer. Like, I didn't know some of those things. Maybe you guys know, but I didn't know some of those things. Let's take a look at another question.
Hello, Mr. Vice President. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity to talk here today. I did not agree with many of the things that you said right ahead of this, but I don't think that's my point to discuss here. What I want to ask is,
Okay.
You are married to a woman who is not Christian. In her Wikipedia, I mean, I just looked that up. I wanted to know what her faith was. I didn't know this before, but she still calls herself Hindu. You
I think his wife is Indian, just like this young lady right here, if I'm not mistaken.
are raising three kids in interracial, cultural, racial, religious household. How are you maintaining, or how are you teaching your kids not to keep your religion ahead of their mother's religion? Or how are you teaching them that your kind, they're that kind who got here just few years or few decades ago is different or is better than your mom's kind who got here just a generation before?
I'm assuming she's asking how did him and his wife decide which religion they're going to raise their kids under? Like, do we raise it under Christianity or Hindu or Buddhist or whatever she said she is? So I think that's the question. I'm not sure what she means by putting the man, his kind, before her kind. I don't know what she means by that, but let's continue.
How are you balancing that? And when you talk about too many immigrants here, when did you guys decide that number? Why did you sell us a dream?
God damn,
You
this girl
made us
asking like
spend
12
our
questions
youth,
already.
our wealth in this country and gave us a dream. You don't owe us anything. We have worked hard for it. Then how can you, as a vice president, stand there and say that we have too many of them now and we are going to take them out to people who are here rightfully so by paying the money that you guys asked us? You gave us the path, and now how can you stop it and tell us we don't belong here anymore?
So,
and one more thing, I'm sorry, one more thing. Do
Sure.
you have to
There's
be...
a lot there. I don't know if I'm going to remember all this, but
Yeah.
I will.
God
I'm sorry,
damn, lady.
I'm sorry, I had to say all of this, and
That's
please
a lot of
take it
questions.
with due... I mean, I'm saying
Mixed
all of
with
this
emotional
with
go ahead.
respect.
rhetoric.
I have no
Thank you.
intention of causing a scene here or anything.
That's too late for
But-
that.
We're not close to causing a scene.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
But we talked about Christianity, all of this. I'm not even Christian, and I'm here standing to show support. Why are we making Christianity one of the major things that you have to have in common to be one of you guys, to show that I love America just as much as you do? Why is that still a question? Why do I have to be a Christian? Or
Okay. So there was a lot there, and I'm going to try to respond to as much of it as I
was a
can.
lot.
So on the question of immigration. So first of all, I can believe that we should have lower immigration levels, but if the United States passed a law and made a promise to somebody, the United States, of course, has to honor that promise. Nobody's talking about that. I'm talking about people who came in violation of the laws of the United States of America, and I'm talking about in the future reducing.
Hey, put
the
your hand
number-
down, lady. Put your hand
reducing
down.
the number of people.
Let him answer your
Sorry,
question.
what?
Can I continue on that?
Jesus Christ.
Because when you just said you are not stopping with the people who came here legally, right? But you are pushing out policies that hurt us. And these policies are not even solving the problems. These policies are just creating
No,
chaos.
ma'am. Okay, so again,
I don't know what she's talking about. He's answering her question. He's addressing all 200 of her questions, and then she's got some mixed in resentment about not wanting illegal immigrants here or immigrants here. It's kind of hard to understand what she's trying to ask. Let's see what JD says.
I'm gonna finish answering the question, and then if I've answered all 9 of your questions in less than 15 minutes, then we can keep on going.
Come on, man. Like, come on.
We got to have a little fun, right? So here's the thing. I can believe that the United States should lower its levels of immigration in the future, while also respecting that there are people who have come here through lawful immigration pathways that have contributed to the country. But just because one person or 10 people or 100 people came in legally and contributed to the United States of America, does that mean that we're thereby committed to let in 1 million or 10 million or 100 million people a year in the future? No, that's not right. We cannot have...
Lady, put that goddamn hand down.
We cannot have an immigration policy where what was good for the country 50 or 60 years ago binds the country inevitably for the future. There's too many people who want to come to the United States of America, and my job as vice president is not to look out for the interests of the whole world. It's to look out for the people of the United States.
Now that was a great answer. I told you, this boy right here good. That boy good.
Now, you asked a personal question about our interfaith household, and yes, my wife did not grow up Christian. I think it's fair to say that she grew up in a Hindu family, but not a particularly religious family in either direction. In fact, when I met my wife, we were both, I would consider myself an agnostic or an atheist, and that's what I think she would have considered herself as well. You know, everybody has to come to their own arrangement here. The way that we've come to our arrangement is she's my best friend. We talk to each other about this stuff. So we decided to raise our kids Christian. Our 2 oldest kids who go to school, they go to a Christian school. Our 8-year-old did his first communion about a year ago. That's the way that we have come to our arrangement. But thank you. My 8-year-old was also very proud of his first communion. Thank you, guys. I'll tell him that Old Miss wishes him the best. But I think everybody has to have this own conversation when you're in a marriage. I mean, it's true for friends of mine who are in Protestant and Catholic marriages, friends of mine who are in, atheist and Christian marriages. You just got to talk to the only advice I can give is you just got to talk to the person that God has put you with, and you've got to make those decisions as a family unit. For us, it works out. Now, most Sundays, Usha will come with me to church. As I've told her, and I've said publicly, and I'll say now in front of 10,000 of my closest friends, do I hope eventually that she is somehow moved by the same thing that I was moved in by church? Yeah, I honestly do wish that, because I believe in the Christian gospel, and I hope eventually my wife comes to see it the same way. But if she doesn't, then God says everybody has free will, and so that doesn't cause a problem for me. That's something you work out with your friends, with your family, with the person that you love. Again, one of the most important Christian principles is that you respect free will. Usha's closer to the priests who baptized me than maybe I am. They talk about this stuff. My attitude is you figure this stuff out as a family, and you trust in God to have a plan, and you try to follow it as best as you can. And that's what I try to do.
That was an excellent answer. JD Vance is just incredible. Light years difference between JD Vance and the ones that wanted Kamala to be in the United States of America as president. JD Vance was light years ahead of her as he is a vice president now, and she was vice president. Look what he's doing. He's going out and speaking to all these events, and he has single-handedly changed the trajectory of the 2028 presidential campaign, because the Democrats are terrified on who's going to run against them. They have no idea who's going to run against them. They don't really have a good uh, options, really. They're bad. But let me know what you guys think about JD Vance's questions and answer section right there. I think he did phenomenal. He's going to be awesome as president of the United States. Republicans will win yet again. Sorry, Democrats, not sorry. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Hit that like button, subscribe to your boy, hit that notification bell so you can get all my other videos. And again, thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys. Peace.